two speakers, rather. Sorry, do Andrea, sorry, Navita.
Hello everyone, thanks for staying. Gosh, it's quite chilly today. So why are we here? Because we care so deeply that we figured out we're being lied to on such an epic level that we can't sit at home and do nothing, that we're prepared to stand in the cold. Because if we don't stand in the cold, the thought of what's going to happen doesn't bear thinking about, but it's not going to happen. And today is actually World Mental Health Day, and if there was ever a time that we need World Mental Health Day, I would think today is. And so I've worked as a subconscious mind expert for 20 years, dealing with the post-traumatic stress and trauma that's been put upon humanity from childhood, from even past lives. Some of you might recognise me because I used to work on TV. I got silenced on TV back in 2013 for talking about the food and drug industry and the Illuminati families that run the world. And what we're under now is tyranny by those families who are trying to suppress our freedom. And if you're interested about the Georgia Guidestones, which have an agenda for the population of humanity, which they want to keep under 500 million. And at present, the world population is 7.8 million. Where has the coronavirus come from? We've all talked about where it's come from and our thoughts and our beliefs and our research. And we've never been so empowered to actually do research. And if you go on the internet and you look, I will read you out the names of people that you can watch their videos. They've done so much research. These people's names are, I will read them out so you can jot them down or come and ask me. There's Dr. Andrew Kaufman, there's Dr. Delores Cahill, there's Dr. Christine Northrup. Dr. Christine Northrup speaks about Lucifer. Luciferize is what they're actually planning to inject into you, which will be able to be seen in ultraviolet light, so that this will be like your passport to go anywhere. I don't think any of us really want that, but we can go and research and find out about this information, so we're not just mindlessly wandering into these things. There's another doctor, Dr. Rainer Fulmite. Now, when we go and research all this stuff, we're then empowered. But do we actually know that there's a do not resuscitate on all the elderly people in the care homes under the coronavirus bill that we're all under at present? And this is important, that our loved ones, our grandmothers or our parents are locked in care homes. We're not able to go in and hug them. Has anybody here actually been into a care home and been able to actually visit a loved one of theirs?
Not in the home, but outside.
Yeah, outside, but it's coming to the winter now, so, you know, can you expect your loved elderly one to actually sit outside in a garden through the winter? I have a 94-year-old auntie, and I've had to find a place in my heart to accept that the probability is going to be that my auntie is going to die without ever having been hugged by any of her family again. And that's what we're all facing with loved ones in care homes, because they actually don't really care about your loved ones at all. The only person who really cares about your loved ones is you. And if you sit here and do nothing, this tyranny upon humanity will continue to exist. They've been told to think about Granny and put your mask on to save Granny, but Granny's locked at home alone with no one to talk to. And not all grannies are on Skype or FaceTime, because we've been told it's fun to do FaceTime and Skype, but actually your elderly relatives or your elderly neighbours actually need somebody to come and visit you. They believe in the mainstream media. They've watched the BBC the whole of their life. It's the bastion of the great British Empire. They don't know that they're being lied to by their leaders and their governments. They don't know that those leaders have got money invested in vaccine industries. They don't know any of that. They believe what they see on the television. And they wear their mask and they go to the supermarket and they do what they're told because they don't know the law of this country. They also don't know that they're probably mask exempt. As many of you probably do know that you're mask exempt. And they're the masks we've talked about today. You can make your own, but you can actually buy one. And most shops, for some reason, seem to feel that this particular mask, which is hidden disabilities, is the most accepted one. You don't need to wear them. And as many of the others have said today, that you know, if somebody approaches you and asks you what your hidden disability is, they have no right to do that under the Equalities Act of 2010, section 119 and 114. And you can actually fine them up to £9,000 as an individual for denying you admission to that building under that act. There are many other things that we don't know about, that when a business tells you that it's their company policy or it's private land, that is not true. And there is a lady called Claire Wills who's a lawyer, and if any company or business tells you that you have to wear a mask, she is taking on their cases and will take them to court for you. So if you look up a lady called Claire Wills, she's on YouTube and she's got videos about businesses that are rejecting you from going into those businesses by denying you your human rights. Yeah, Claire Wills Harrison. Also, as I mentioned, the Georgia Guidestones, which are in Georgia, are part of this global reset. And the global reset, you'll start to see at bus stops. In London, it's already happened. There are big posters and billboards saying the Great Global Reset. There's also a book out called COVID-19, The Great Reset, which is where they plan to go with this. It's planning to send it into like a communist China, or social, what they call it is a social crediting system, where if you haven't behaved yourselves in what they deem appropriate, then you won't get to do things. You maybe won't even be allowed a pet. Apparently in I think it was the Second World War, the government in this country told everybody that they wouldn't be able to find enough food for their pets, and they actually did a leaflet that went out in the Second World War to families showing them how to kill their animals so that they wouldn't die of hunger. So we've been doing these psychological mind games upon humanity for a long time. My father's 94, and he doesn't wear a mask, and he's going out and he's wearing his mask exempt badge. But it's taken a lot for me to educate him that this is not the absolute truth, because he believes in the BBC. So what else do we need to know? In Cambodia, nobody has died of the coronavirus. And also during this, I've actually had my smart meter removed from my house. And you may wonder, where does the smart meter, where does 5G tie in with all of this? Well, this is the book that I'd like to show you, which is a book called The Invisible Rainbow by Arthur Furstenberg. It's the history of electricity on planet Earth, and it's about 220 years of the history of planet Earth being electrified, and ever since we've increased the electrification of planet Earth, we've had the cold and flu virus, commonly known the coronavirus. And since March 2020, Elon Musk has put up 5G satellites in the sky. You probably see them, they're stars you've never seen before. We've also had smart meter rollouts since March 2020. And if you take and go on the internet and download the March 2020 rollout of smart meters in the UK, they will correlate to the lockdown areas in the UK. Also, in Victoria, in Australia, in Melbourne area, where the people have been locked in their houses, that also is the only area in Australia that has mandatory smart meters. So again, another thing to question, why are these areas being targeted? What's the bigger picture? Where do they want humanity to go? Well, if you look at the Georgia Guidestones, you can see what they think about humanity. They think there's too many of us on the planet, and they have agendas for rewilding. This is where it's going if we don't wake up and we don't take back our freedom. And if we want to do some research about our health and well-being and how people started to get flu ever since the electrification of the earth, this is the best book that I've ever read. It's called The Invisible Rainbow, The History of Electricity and Life by Arthur Furstenberg. Now, on a spiritual level, which is what I deal with in the job that I do, why have they chosen now on this planet to target us? They've chosen now because the Schumann frequency, which is the Earth's resonant frequency, is changing on the planet. And many things were changing. And also they didn't want us to awaken, they didn't want us to detoxify our pineal glands and wake up and realise that we're capable of more things than they've ever allowed us to believe we're capable of doing. And so they want this tyranny upon us so that we don't find out that we're actually high vibrational beings who have the ability to heal ourselves without the need of pharmaceutical drugs or being cut open. But what we're finding is that they're shutting the doors to those hospitals, so that allopathic medicine that you may have relied on is being taken away from us now. So you may have to go back to believing in non-allopathic medicines. In ancient times, in the 1800s, you would actually have the homeopathic cart coming into your village to help you heal. But they got rid of that, as many of you have talked about today. I spent 20 years helping people heal without pharmaceutical drugs all being cut open, and that's your potential to heal. And they're trying to put you into a lower frequency, and when you're in a lower frequency you get sick and ill. So although we can be angry or we can be fearful about what they've tried to do to us, it's not going to serve our soul's highest purpose to be fearful or angry. We've got to return to our hearts, because the heart has a highly cohesive waveform. It has a frequency. And when we go into the heart and we stay in the heart, we go into love and we heal our bodies. And that is our human potential, to heal our bodies. And when we heal our bodies, no matter what radiation is put upon us by electromagnetic frequencies, as we now live in a toxic soup, we can rise above those frequencies and heal ourselves and move away from any need for vaccines or being told that we need to put plastic bags over our faces, because basically the throwaway masks that you wear are actually a form of plastic. And the other masks that you're wearing, those cloth ones, have you thought about the fact that they're over your nose and your mouth and you're breathing in toxic dyes which are printed onto the fabrics? They were never designed, that fabric was never designed to go over your mouth 8 hours a day plus, or however many hours that you wear it. And when you're fearful, you clutch to your nunu blanket. We've always done that. As children, we've had a little rag that if we're frightened, or a teddy bear, we put it over our face. Nobody has told you that you need to walk around in the fresh air wearing a mask. But you wear it because your government have actually terrified you to the point where you can't actually even think straight anymore. You have been traumatized. You have been under the biggest trauma that you've ever had in your life. And these are crimes against humanity. It's subconscious mind control. It's basic 101 mind control. And if you can't see that the rules of the game keep changing, how come you can go hunting, shooting and fishing in groups of more than 6, but 6 of you going to sit in your auntie's garden is a crime against humanity and you could be fined for it? None of it makes any sense. And if you don't wake up now, there won't be any life left for you to wake up to, because their plan for you is that you will not be existing on this planet. So it's time that we do our research, and it's time we take back our power, and it's time we educate our fellow friends and family who were frightened of offending. Well, it's better to offend people than have them dead. Thank you for listening.
Very well done, that's brilliant, brilliant.
Thank you very much, that was brilliant. Where is Nagisa? Come on, Nagisa. You keep missing your turn.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very good to come this week. It's very good to be able to.
Well done, that was really good. Well done.
We started so many months of these sessions ago. It's very good to be here to talk to you. And I'm very much suffering from the cold, but I tell you, my heart is really on fire. And being here is like one of the first things in all these months that seems to make sense again. Because I haven't been feeling really passion for many things that I've been doing before, maybe not even for my profession. So So it's very good to be part of this movement, isn't it? It's very exciting to be part of the movement. It's very inspiring to feel right at the momentum where it's possible that something big and beautiful can be created. And we can all be part of it. Right? Usually we arrive something when everything is already set up and it's done and say, oh look, what great thing they've created. But this time we can create something beautiful. Yes? I would like to tell you something quite practical. Actually, I am very practical because I spent most of my life in Germany. I grew up there, and to witness how the freedom movement has been growing in Germany day by day, to reach a point like this last week, besides everything else that has been mentioned, like the group of the doctors, the association of the lawyers, all of that, and last week witnessing how the media, the mass media is now switching, and they are also inviting lockdown critical people, PCR critical people to mainstream programs. So, and what do I mean with being practical? I think it's time for us to go out and to reach people who are not here today, standing with us here. So how can we do that? I think we have to go out to the streets to put flyers out, information out. We have been talking to a really kind farmer the other day in Cambodia, and we went to see a house, and he was a really smart guy, very, very open, and he actually opened the conversation about Corona. We didn't do that. But it's not that he was stupid or he was conservative, he just didn't have access to alternative information. So why can't we do information packages and go to little hamlets and villages and bring it into the post offices of the people? Why can't we leave with flyers on the streets like one day before the rally is, as we did last weekend before the Cambodia rally, and give small flyers out to people and inform them where we are going to become, listen to the speeches. And it might be just like step by step, but that's how in Germany also the movement grew day by day. So what I want to say, I'm going to be here. Please come if you feel like you want to be doing it. I would like to call you to organize classrooms, local classrooms, here in Campbell, in Tanzania, and to share our flyers, to print them, and to organize people to wear, to this, like to that, and especially also together think about how can we reach parents and teachers. Maybe we can go in front of schools, or what can we do? Can we go and talk to the schools? Because one big concern is we can't make children wear more masks. Children wearing masks is abuse, right? It's so anxious about the abuse. Let that